the Workers Credit Union studios here at Fitchburg Access Television. Hello, I'm Scott May, and this is North Central Journal. Our topic for discussion this month is a nonprofit organization I'm sure, like me, many of you have not heard of. It's called Dress a Girl Around the World. And joining us via Zoom from their homes in Bridgewater and West Bridgewater are Evelyn DeLutis, Gail McCarthy, and Gloria Moran. Ladies, welcome to North Central Journal.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to see you. And even though we're on Zoom, we do have this technology, and it's sometimes comes in handy when we're a distance away like this. As I said at the outset, I had never heard of Dress a Girl Around the World until maybe a month or so ago. And I imagine there are a lot of people like me. So let's begin, Gail, by talking about the mission of Dress a Girl Around the World.
Great, thank you. Dress a Girl Around the World's mission is quite simple. It's the idea that every young girl deserves to get a brand new dress at least once in her life. And this dress is to provide her with dignity, it's to provide her with respect, to show her that there's somebody in this world that is looking out for her and cares for her. So the mission is quite simple. Getting the girls the dresses, that's another thing altogether.
We want to talk a little bit, Gail, about the history of the organization. A little bit of research that I did, it started in 2009, is that correct?
That's correct. Rachel Egum Senator, I think is how you say her last name, she went to Uganda and noticed that the little girls were with no clothing at all or very tattered clothing. And so she had remembered how to make a very simple pillowcase dress. So she had started and she made a few of those and sent them back to them. And just the joy on the faces of those little girls that received those dresses was enough to get her started with the Dress a Girl Around the World. It comes under the umbrella of Hope for Women International. And Hope for Women International started in 2009. And 2006. Dress a Girl started in 2009.
We want to talk about how the three of you became involved in Dress a Girl, and I think Gloria will turn to you first. How did you get involved in Dress a Girl with Evie and Gail? How did that come to pass?
I met Evelyn in the parking lot at Bridgewater State University, and she was all excited. She said, "Look what I have in the back of my car." And my friend and I were meeting with Evelyn, and out of her car, she took 3 absolutely adorable dresses. Seems that she had met Gail at a program introducing the Dress a Girl Around the World project, and immediately went home and made those dresses. So we said, oh, we could do this. And I'm going to bounce it back to Evelyn as to how she ended up going to West Bridgewater to learn about this.
Hi. Well, I walked into the West Bridgewater Library one day to pick up a book, and there was an easel with 2 little cotton dresses hanging from it with a sign that said Dress a Girl Around the World. Ask us about it. So I immediately, because I love fabric, I love sewing, so I immediately went to the desk and asked about it, and they pointed me out to Gail, and we sat and talked about it, and Gail gave me information, and the dresses were simple enough so that after looking at them, I went home and pulled out a few pieces of fabric and made those 3 that Gloria has referred to. And then we connected with Gail more, I guess you would say more importantly, because she was the ambassador, she and her sister. And so we connected with her, and the project exploded.
Gail, you seem to be the instigator here. You've been involved with Dress a Girl for how long?
Probably about 8 years now.
Uh-huh.
I retired from teaching, and I was looking for something to do that was meaningful. And so my sister had been the ambassador for Rhode Island for a couple of years, and she kind of took me on board. And then she moved to Florida, the nerve of her. So I met up with Evie, and Evie and I decided that we'd put the 2 Bridgewaters together and work together. And so we became co-ambassadors for the project.
Now tell us about the responsibilities. You mentioned that you and Evie are co-ambassadors. What are your responsibilities in that capacity?
Well, as ambassadors, we help to get the dresses made, we help to get them collected and distributed. That's our main role. But we also run workshops and network with the community. We try to partner with local organizations. For example, I'm partnered with the West Bridgewater Library, and Evie and Gloria are partnered with the Senior Center in Bridgewater. And so, we're kind of like the liaison between the sewers, the sewist we call them, and the little girls who get the dresses.
And how many sewists do you have in Bridgewater, West Bridgewater now?
Well, on my email, I have about 120
Wow.
people, and I'm sure Gail has a lot more also, and they come and go. Some of them go to Florida over the winter. Some of them get busy doing other things, but our core group in Bridgewater is probably about 20 sewists. And then the others, as I said, come and go as they can.
In some cases, does money come out of your own pocket to ship things, or do you have a resource for that as well?
We have resources for that as well.
That's
and
good.
Again, I love Facebook. I post on that all the time. And I said, Dress a Girl has dresses that we would like to send to other countries. If there are any organizations or businesses or anybody that would like to donate money that we can use for shipping. My daughter-in-law is a retired airline attendant, but she still gets a 75% discount on shipping costs with FedEx. So she's part of our group because when we can fill up a box, she takes it to FedEx, and the cost it's still high. The costs are very expensive, but nowhere near. We wouldn't have been able, if we didn't have her discount, we would not have enough money to do any shipping at all.
Gail, let's talk about where the dresses go. When you make these dresses, what countries are you distributing the dresses to, and then how are they distributed once they get there?
Well, I can tell you, how we get them to the little girls, and we give them all over the world. That's why we're called Dress a Girl Around the World. They go to Africa, Asia. Gloria could probably give you a nice extended list of where, but they also stay in the United States. But to get them distributed, one way is the shipping that we were talking about. But the best way is when missionaries go to these countries and we're able to give them a suitcase full or a duffel bag full of dresses to bring with them. That way we know that they got to the very little girl that was supposed to get to. We also send them through Operation Christmas Child. If anybody knows about that, they have those shoebox ministries where people fill a shoebox full of toiletries or small toys, and we've been doing probably about 1,000 dresses a year go through Operation Christmas Child. They put them in the boxes as well. But I'd like Gloria to tell you some of the places we send them.
Yeah, Gloria, you had a list we talked about earlier, so go ahead, run it down for us.
We did. The Mandela Scholars, if I can jump down to that.
Sure.
Because that's one of our biggest connections. Bridgewater State University, through Dr. Wing Kai To in the Minnick Center for International Engagement, has, for the last 5 years, been able to bring 25 Mandela Scholars from Africa. It's a program that Barack Obama began to recognize the up-and-coming young people in Africa. And these people are between the ages of 25 and 35. Right now, we have 25 on the campus, and they came 4 weeks ago. They are from 18 countries in Africa, and that's one of the connections that we have. We've sent dresses to Cameroon and Uganda, Malawi, South Africa, just a number of countries. And the Mandela Scholars were with us a week ago Friday at the Bridgewater Senior Center. It was a connection that we made with Dr. To that he was looking for places of volunteerism because it's not something that's done very frequently in Africa. And he wanted them to see how people just give of their time to help in this instance, young girls around the world, have that first dress. So they came, 10 of them completed a dress with our sewists. Some were bagging dresses, putting the panties in the pockets. It was quite wild. We had a group of women who came and explained a project for washable menstrual pads, which one of the Mandela scholars was extremely interested in, because the girls in Africa miss a week every month of school, 9 months a year they miss in schooling because they have no products. So they were very interested with these women. We also had a table with boys' cargo shorts. Evelyn had looked at the pictures that are sent back to us after the dresses are received, and she noticed the little boys kind of in the background looking a little sad because they weren't receiving anything, and found patterns for cargo pants. And we've got one woman who has made hundreds, and we probably had 90 pair of cargo shorts and t-shirts to go with them. And the Mandela scholars thought they were wonderful and took every one of them with them. And they also took some of the dresses that they bagged with the underwear in it. And we had the women as well as the men sewing. Many of them had never been at a sewing machine before. So it's an incredible project. And they're saying, you do this for other people. It was quite an amazing, eye-opening event for them. And we had physicians and a pharmacist, a judge, lawyers, a high school principal. They come from all ranks, but most interesting.
I want to talk about numbers. I want to talk about the number of dresses that you, maybe a ballpark that you distribute annually. And since the beginning of the program in 2009, I saw the number. How many dresses have been made and distributed since 2009, when Dress a Girl began?
Globally, I mean, for the whole organization, it's been well over 2 million dresses.
Wow.
Locally, we've done probably now close to 7,000, 7,200 dresses in the last couple of years. We made a goal of 2020 to make 2,020 dresses, and we exceeded that goal.
Yes.
And it's ongoing. It's an ongoing project, and it's very strong. We just had the ladies that you're talking about come to visit us, and they want to start a group in the western part of the state. We have people down in the Cape that want to start a group. So it definitely is a growing organization, and we do thousands a year and millions across the country.
Now, Evie, you talked about. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Gail heard from a woman in Maine who needed 1,000 dresses, and we gathered. Many of them are in my dining room, so we got them all together. We took them over to Gail's home, and Gail's wondering how we're going to get these dresses to Maine. And the woman, if I'm not mistaken, drove from Maine.
Yep.
And took the dresses back that will go in a container ship over to Africa.
Now, Evie, you talked about how much you like social media. And the question I have as we wrap up, if people are interested in learning more about Dress a Girl or becoming involved, how do they go about doing that?
Well, we have our own Facebook page, and if you wanted to go there, it's called all spelled out, Dress a Girl Around the World, Bridgewater / West Bridgewater. And because it's a private page, you would just have to ask to be accepted into it. The other way to get more total information is dressagirlaroundtheworld.com. Am I correct, Gail?
Yep.
.com, and that gives you the big picture, and our Facebook page gives you what's going on more locally.
Well, Evie, Gail, and Gloria, I want to thank you very much for joining us, for being with us on North Central Journal, for all you're doing. Congratulations, and we look forward to the progress of Dress a Girl as it grows around the world.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Scott.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hold up a little dress as we go off.
Oh, very
Oh,
nice.
there it is.
The sundresses that we make.
Oh, cute.
Now, we also had an opportunity to visit with members of the Gardner division of
Yes.
Dress a Girl Around the World, and we'll be chatting with them next here on NCJ. We are on the grounds of the Stevens Public Library here in Ashburnham. I'm Scott May, and welcome back to North Central Journal as we continue our discussion about Dress a Girl Around the World, this time with folks from the local area, the Gardner division of Dress a Girl. Claudia Ewing in the middle here. To her right is Mary Garland, and to her left is Patty Stone. Ladies, thank you very much. We had an opportunity to talk with your cohorts in the Bridgewater, West Bridgewater area before we spoke to you. That's part of the show. But we wanted to bring it down to the local level and get a feel for your involvement in Dress a Girl, how it all began. And I think we have to go to Claudia because I think here you're the instigator. You're the one who first learned about Dress a Girl and brought Patty and Mary into it with you. So tell us about how you learned about it, Claudia.
Originally, I learned about it on Facebook, and it was February, this past February. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. I'd like to do that. And then the very next day, a friend of mine sent me a link on Dress a Girl Around the World. And so I looked it up and I thought, this is what I saw yesterday on Facebook. I'm going to do this. So I'm a sewer. I went to my patterns. I pulled out all my patterns. I thought, I know I have something appropriate. I found a pattern. I went through my stash. Because I'm a sewer, I have hundreds
You have a stash.
and thousands of yards of fabric. And I made a dress. And I loved it so much. And I made another dress. And then I took pictures of it. And I sent them to Mary. And I thought, I think Mary would like this. And sure enough, Mary liked it.
Yes,
And so she said, show me how. So I took my sewing machine and my fabric and I went to Mary's house and I sewed a dress. And she sat there and she watched me. She just watched me do it. And then she copied the pattern and she made a dress. And then she told Patty about it. And Mary and Patty and I and a couple other women, we sew together once a month or something like that. And so she told Patty, and Patty said, yeah, I want to do that too. So we have been sewing since mid-March, and we have been getting together at my house about every 3 weeks and sewing dresses together, laughing, doing a lot of ripping because we do a lot of laughing and we make mistakes, and you know, anybody that sews knows that. And then we sew at home. So that's how we began, and we've been having so much fun, but we have friends that have been hearing us, and we've been posting on Facebook, and friends are interested in what we are doing.
Well, Mary, I'll start with you, but Patty, I want to ask you the same question. What were your thoughts when Claudia first brought this up? What did you think about it?
I said, oh, I love it because I get to sew and be with special people and it for a good cause also. So I really enjoyed it, and I was happy that Claudia had, thought of the project to do.
And then Patty, they teamed up and dragged you into this too. But you
But
must have been
I
thrilled.
went willingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say there was no dragging, no dragging
stopping,
at all.
No stopping Patty.
So, just as Claudia had done in the past, over COVID, I was making masks as Claudia did. And when that was over, I was looking for something to give back. And so when they mentioned this, I thought, wow, what a great cause for little girls making dresses. So I've had a wonderful time doing it. And again, being a sewer, we all have our stashes of material. And my husband is very grateful that now the stash is dwindling so that he doesn't have to move it around all the time. So a great thing.
How did you decide on what dresses to make? I mean, how does that work? The patterns you use, there's a certain process here, so tell us about that.
There is a criteria that Dress a Girl has. And when I looked it up, and Mary and Patty, they have looked it up, we have all done a lot of research, but looking it up, they tell you what style dresses are appropriate for the girls that they send them to, whether it be nationally or internationally, the styles, the sizes, And so that's what drove us to the style dress that we wound up choosing, because it was one of the basic 3 dress styles that they approve for
Now, what
girls.
do you do with the dresses you make? What happens when you complete them? Where do they go? Where do you send them?
Well, we store them in our closets for a while.
For a while.
Yeah, and it's fun to just look at them. We take pictures of them, and then the 3 of us got together at Mary's house, and we packaged up 55 dresses, and we sent them to the ambassadors in Bridgewater.
In Bridgewater, okay.
Everything goes out through them.
Okay.
So we're not the leaders in Massachusetts. We're just like a branch. We help Bridgewater. And that way, some of the pressure is off of Bridgewater. When they get an order for 800 dresses,
Yeah.
they have about 100 members, I understand, and we have about 10 at this point. So we can help out with that 800 number.
How many dresses, you started sewing in March, how many dresses, you mentioned 55, but I think you've exceeded that number. How many have you made?
When we went to Bridgewater a week ago Friday, we brought 2 bags of dresses. We have donated 92 at this point, and we all have a couple of dresses, at home in our stash,
Yeah.
getting ready for our next shipment.
Now, who takes care of the expenses? I mean, there's a cost involved, obviously to ship things, material that you need. Is that part of your volunteering?
Yes.
Out of your pockets?
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
Yes, it all starts with the 3 of us.
Uh-huh.
And everything in the very beginning, like I said, came from our stash. Whether it was our fabric and the elastic and thread, everything came from us. And because we have so much, and because we have that sense of wanting to share with other people in need, and sharing with other girls and women is of great priority. And Patty and I, we were great mask makers. So we have a lot of elastic from our mask making days. The good thing about making masks was it got us in that momentum of sewing and sewing and sewing and helping other people with our sewing. But it stopped, and we knew there was an end to it. This doesn't have an end, which is fortunate in one way because we know we're not going to run out of our thing that we like to do, but sad that there will always be this huge need. But there isn't an end, and we can just keep sewing and bringing more friends on board, and the camaraderie is so fantastic as well. There's so many
that's the
benefits.
most important is the friendships that we make, and our friendship, very important.
Well, one of the reasons why we're here on the grounds of the Stevens Public Library is that you have introduced an open sew concept here at the library. Well, I attended your first open sew in June. You've got another one coming up this month in July,
Yes, the 21st.
and then in August as well?
Yes, but it'll be the 3rd Thursday of the month. every
Third
month.
Thursday of the month,
So
okay.
that people can plan in advance and maybe make it to one open sew but not another. So it's sort of an open thing. They can just come if they're available, and as long as we know what kind of numbers we're dealing with, we'll have supplies ready for them.
And if they don't sew, we always have something else that they can do. They can iron, they can cut, they can trace. There's
The person
always
writing
something
thank you
for
notes.
everybody.
So
Now, so how does the open sew work? You've got people who haven't done this before, so there's a little bit of teaching or training going on, right? To instruct them as to what they need to do and patterns to follow, things like that? Is that how it works?
Yes, absolutely. Our first open sew, we sat around in the lovely comfortable chairs that are in the library, and we just talked. We just shared what we had been doing, what Dress a Girl Around the World is about. And we had tables set up for cutting patterns, for cutting fabric. After we talked, people asked us questions, we went ahead and just started creating more patterns. We had kits that Mary had prepared, and so people were able to take home a kit and make a whole dress, but they didn't have to go through the cutting. That was all done for them. And our goal is to have more kits prepared for the open sews so people can just get right to the sewing and not spend time cutting.
I want to talk about your passion for this, which I think has already been displayed, but I want you each individually to tell me what this means to you. Mary, we'll start with you. What does
It means a
Dress a
lot.
Girl mean? Yeah.
It means a lot to me. I've been sewing since I've been 5 years old, and I just love it. And to be able to get together with people that have my passion is really rewarding. It's very rewarding.
And Patty, how about you?
The thought that there are young women in the world who don't have a good dress, and that the dress that I put together is going to be worn by this young woman who I don't know who she is or where she is just, I don't know, it's just so rewarding to me to think that someone I helped. It's just warms my heart, and that's why I'm doing it. Plus the camaraderie, you know, it's fun to all be together and have a like cause.
Yeah. Claudia,
So-
how about you?
You know, Scott, it's hard to articulate without feeling very emotional about this, but helping girls, women around the world is so gratifying. We all grew up as, the three of us, we grew up as women. We know what it's like to have difficult times, but we have nothing compared to what these children grow into as young adults in these other countries. And to think that some of them never get a dress in their entire life, and this may be their only dress, it's very heartwarming. And there are so many people that we are learning just in this community that feel the same way, that just want to support. We don't live just in our communities, we live globally now, and this is such a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And it is our passion to sew. We are all sewists. So to be able to do,
Sewists,
to be
yes.
able to do what you love and to share it with the world, it couldn't be a nicer thing to do.
Plus, we talk about this being international. It also is the United States, which was something we found out when we went to Bridgewater, that a lot of the requests come from within the states.
Yeah.
So not only are we helping women around the world, we're helping people in our own country. And it's so nice to hear something good happening in the world instead of all the bad that's happening in the
Yes,
world. So
yeah.
nice to be part of the good.
Now, if people watching this would like more information about the Gardner division of Dress a Girl Around the World, where do they go? Who do they talk to? How do they get in touch with you?
We
Go
have we have a website, and it is Dress a Girl Gardner Division at gmail.com, and they can email us, and we would provide them with all the information of the next sew or how they can become involved. Or if they know any of us personally, they can reach out to us, or they can attend one of our open sews also.
And the
Which-
open sews are,
The third Thursday of the month here at the Stevens Library from 10 to 12.
beautiful.
So.
I want to thank you all for being with us. It's a great story. We've got the Bridgewater Ambassador connection. We've got the Gardner division of Dress a Girl Around the World connection. And thank you very much.
Well,
thank you for
thank
everything
you.
you do.
Thank
Scott.
you for,
Thank you
for
very
getting
much.
our message out.
We
Yes,
really
thank you.
appreciate this, really do.
thank you.